Yo, YouTube, what up? It's your boy, Shot City Trucker, checking back in with y'all. I know I said I was going to be in the truck my next video, but I haven't actually made it back to the truck. I was actually sitting here at a, laundromat, even though I could have washed my clothes at a terminal or, at the house. But, I decided to, come over here and wash my clothes. And what better time to make a video while it's fresh on my mind and while I'm waiting for my clothes to wash and dry, right? Well, the video I wanted to talk about is a video that's really important only because so many people, or not too many that I know, haven't talked about it. And I want to be one of the ones to actually mention what can and what will happen out here. And that's when you've given your all. I mean, you've tried and you've tried and you've tried and you cannot put together at least $3,500 of revenue. You can't put together a $3,000 week, or you find yourself in the hole more often than not, or you find yourself owing more than 2 truck payments. When it starts getting that far behind and you just can't see yourself making ends meet, or you're not bringing home a check, or the checks you bring home are between $300 and $500, or you're not seeing $1,000+ checks, what then? Now, granted, when things like that happen, it's ultimately all on you. It's your fault that it's happening. It's the load board. Yes, well, it's the load board and it's the driver. It's the load board because I'll be one to say that every load doesn't pay great. Schneider on the load board, every load is not going to be $1,000. I mean, they have freight on there that is really, 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 really paying a lot of money, but I mean, it's going from almost one end of the country to the other end of the country. Now, if you live in a city where freight is good, like the Midwest where I'm at, then yeah, you can kind of be one of the guys that might do a little bit better. But coming out here, there's that huge learning curve on the load board. Some people pick it up real quick, others struggle with it, others don't even get it at all and have to have someone else help them book their loads. I mean, there's so many variables that go along with it. But what happens when you've done all you can and you got to turn the truck in, or you feel as if this lease isn't what I thought it was. I thought I was gonna come out here and be home 2-3 nights a week and off on the weekends, and I'm never home. All these questions, I notice that people go through, even myself included. Now, I live in the Midwest, so I notice if you live in a bigger city, your odds of running through the house and getting off for that weekend will be a lot more than someone who lives in let's say, a more scarce part of town. Not impossible, but the likelihood is a lot better there. So learning to connect the loads and make enough revenue so you start seeing money. These Schneider finance trucks are very expensive. Okay, we're talking about $700 and up. And they're going to take they're going to take maintenance out as well, which can be a good thing because some of us just aren't disciplined to put up our own $120 or $150 a week into our own account. Some of us aren't, but you got to remember that managed maintenance account, MMA, is right alongside your truck note. Okay, then your fixed cost of your insurances, then your fuel, then you start making money. So on average, I've seen people around about $2,000 a week before they start seeing money. So you need to book at least $2,000 by the middle of the week. So by the end of the week, you have your money when you want to go home for the weekend, or at least run a load that kind of can run you through the house on the weekend and you can deliver on Monday. But if you fall short and your fuel is high and your truck note here at Schneider Finance is high, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be tough. But there are people here who can make it work. And I myself, it's a hit or miss, hit and miss. Some weeks, and I'll be honest, some weeks I do well, other weeks I don't do as well. Other weeks I totally get out here and I screw up. And when I screw up bad. And it's happened to me. Now, I didn't know that coming on to a lease, because now I feel, oh, well, wow, can I really do this for 3 years? What have I gotten myself into? Do I even see myself driving in this industry for 3 years? And you're going to go through that push and pull battle. Now, if you're coming on to Schneider, you got those guys that come on to Schneider and they have a truck note that they're not paying weekly, they're paying monthly. Now, I already know the same loads that I run, if I was paying a truck note monthly instead of weekly, $2,000 a week, every week. I mean, I would have no problem on making revenue. But when I'm paying that truck note every single week, sometimes I don't hit that mark. And I'll tell you, I just booked a series of loads this week. I only hit $3,000. That's $500 in revenue short than what I normally would have been used to getting. Now, the only way I'm going to try and, you know, cover that is I'm going to watch my fuel. I'll make sure I fuel exactly right, you know, these next 4 loads, and I should be okay. Not great, but okay. But like I said, you got to save, and save. So you already got the truck note. If you're coming to Schneider Finance, getting a Schneider Finance truck is going to be high, okay? If you're coming to Schneider Finance and you already have a truck from another source, it will be more beneficial. Now that I can look in hindsight, I wish I had saved that $5,000 or $6,000 and got that used truck and set aside some money in my bank account, and then went ahead and made that my maintenance account with my business, you know, and done it that way. Because the way I went, I wasn't making enough money as a company driver, and trying to save $5,000 or $6,000 would have took me another almost 2 years. So I wanted the fast track. I wanted the fast way. I wanted to hurry up and jump out here. And I've done my studying. I've watched all these videos. I've talked to all these guys. It's been about a year. I'm ready. As soon as I get out here, I realize I'm not ready. I am not ready. I can make I'm going to try my hardest to make my lease work. But the only thing that would kind of take me out my lease is my health. If something were to go wrong with my health, I probably would, you know, have to terminate my lease at that point. But don't get out in a long, lengthy lease. Tiptoe and dip your foot in the water for a year. Just a year. Dip. Okay, I like it, I'll release. Or dip, I don't like it, I'm going to do something else. When you do 3 years, you're committed. Hell or high water, you're committed. You're going to have to make it work. If not, it's sink or swim. And I don't like that, but I know that that's business and that's life. But if it gets to the point where you're not profitable, you've tried all you can try. You've done all the reaching out you can reach out to, all the people you've come in contact with, you're just gonna have to give it back. You're gonna have to give it back, but that doesn't mean you're a failure. That means you know what, you tried. That means you tried. At least it was no woulda, coulda, shoulda, or what if. You know exactly what happened because you tried. And the same thing goes with me. I tried. I did everything right. Now, I'm not giving up my truck just yet. I'm not giving it up. I'm still able to make revenue, but I notice it's the load board. You know, those loads, and I don't run the same loads. I just like running certain areas like Chicago, Illinois, Indiana, a little bit of Ohio, Wisconsin. You know, I'll throw a little Kentucky in there, maybe a little Tennessee, but if I'm starting to go down to Georgia, I'm having to go over here to Dallas, or I'm having to go over here to Alabama or Mississippi to make a check and then drive all the way back up to the Midwest, man, you know, that's OTR. You know, I get it. I'm not trying to be a diva, but if I got to drive all over across the country, here's the thing. It's the home time. You want a good balance of both work life and home life. And if you can't get that, it's kind of like, what is it worth? Because you're out there, say you get a $2,000 check, $1,800 check. Good for you. Are you home? No. Are you home? Because if you're not home, to me, what's good? What's the point of all this money? Yeah, you're saving and you're making a little bit more than you probably were before, but if you're always in the back of that bunk all the time, you don't get out the truck, and you don't even know your address, the side of your truck, that truck number is your new address number. To me, that's a problem. And I'm one of the guys who practically live on the truck. I'm only out the truck now like for 34, or if the loads get me through the house. It's not like, oh well, you know what, I'm gonna take it off. Make no mistake about it. That facade of you're an owner operator, you can take a home, you can go home whenever you want. You can go home when you can afford to go home. If you didn't make enough revenue and you go home, you're gonna owe. You know, don't fall for that. You know, or yes, you don't have a boss to check in with. But when things go south, or let that load be late, or there's something wrong with you updating your next available time, or, you know, they will call you. They will send you a Qualcomm message. Not like, you know, you're just super trucker and nobody is nobody dare say anything to you. That's not going to happen. They will get a hold of you if things do not go the way they intend for things to go with their loads. Remember, you're hauling their loads. They're not hauling your loads. So, but that's to be said about running as a lease operator or owner operator with a mega carrier. It's different with mom and pop. You know, I have family members that lease with mom and pop, and it's way different. But, you know, I'm over here, I'm playing with the big boys, and I'm getting started. So I'm taking my bumps and lumps as I go. But sometimes I got to put in perspective, like, okay, well, I still have a life. You know, I've devoted enough to this industry. I've devoted already enough in the past few years with this, just Schneider. You know, what else is out there for me? Am I happy? Because like they said, money is not going to make you happy. I thought it would, because everybody, oh, well, money can't buy you happiness. I was always that guy said, hey, give me a handful of money and I'll show you happiness. Well, what ended up happening? I ended up getting that handful of money, miserable, because I got the handful of money, 1,000 miles away from the house, you know, knew nothing about the load board, you know, just by myself, and, you know, nothing was really clicking. And now it's starting to click. I'm noticing, you know, I don't want the whole entire summer to go by and I'm in the truck. You know, I don't want to miss out any more, you know, birthdays or, you know, Christmases or Thanksgivings or anything like that. And you shouldn't have to. But sometimes, you know, when it comes to that freight, you might have to in order to make your week. You don't, in order to, oh man, you know what, I want to get home for, you know, this graduation, but oh man, I need that $500 load to make sure, you know, that $500 will keep me from going in the hole. Oh man, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and have to run it. You know, those little instances. There's so much, for good reason, that isn't talked about, but I just hate to see a guy to come out here and didn't know everything and made the wrong decision, and now he done signed his name and that ink dried and he's locked in. You know, I mean, that's business, but then again, you know, I wish there were more videos like the one I'm making, buyer beware, or, you know, stressed out and burnt out, or turning your truck in. You know, if it gets to the point where you're just too far behind that 8-ball, man, just jump out of it. Jump out of it. And I'm not saying take my word for gold, but I mean, let's look at the numbers. I mean, if you're $4,000, $5,000 behind in truck payments and you're always negative and you're not seeing a check, why are you still here? The worst has already happened, because I mean, in order for you to catch up, you'd have to run about a month and a half straight with no check until you can break even. No, just, I mean, accept it. Hey, I tried, it didn't work out, I'm gonna move on. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't see anything wrong with that. Now, of course, the repercussions with the, you know, finance fees and all the charges they're going to charge you, worry about that later. You need to worry about numero uno, and that is you and your health, mentally and physically, and how you feel in this industry. It's more than just, you know, getting behind the steering wheel and meeting the seat and just driving down the road. You're running a business, and if the business fails, the business fails. Now, right now, I'm keeping my head above water, but if I keep making these mistakes that I've been making, I can see it. Put it like this: if this was the winter time, while freights aren't as profitable as they are now, and I was doing what I've been doing like at the current time, oh no, I'd be in some real serious trouble. But I just didn't know enough, you know. And what I know now, is it $1 late? Is it a day late and $1 short? Maybe, because I got a wealth of information now, and it's almost like, man, I wish I knew this. I wish I knew this. I wish I knew, you know, what I know now back then. But I'm not down in Schneider. I'm not down in SFI. You can get out here and you can make good money. The concept is simple. You learn the load board, you book the freight, you run the freight, you're on time, and you repeat that process. You will be profitable. But what happens when you don't learn the load board, you can't find the loads and you can't run up that revenue to get to where you need to get to. Because some people don't like running all over the country. Me, I'm the same way. Not to be a diva, I'm not running the west of the Rockies. I'm not running east and northeast of the Appalachian Mountains. I'm a Midwest kind of guy. Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, little Tennessee, a little Kentucky. And that's it. You know, I don't want to keep going further and further. I like to run that little Midwest region, and that's it. I'm sorry. That's just how I am. You can call it what you want. That's what I'm going to do. But I don't want to deter anyone, because there was a gentleman that I know who commented that he's getting ready to close on his truck, or if he didn't already close, he's getting ready to come aboard. You can do well. Take advice from as many people as you can. Find a good area of, you know, freight, or a good area that you notice is real profitable, and stick to the area. Every now and again, you'll have to kind of deviate to make that work. But every driver's situation is different. You still can get home, like I said. You still can make good money, like I said. You still can see the family and your friends, like I said. But on the dark side of that, for the guys who just can't make it work, all those things that I just said you can do sometimes might not happen. And when you get frustrated, that's when you're going to want to quit. When you open up that check and it's $300 because you just couldn't book enough freight, or loads cancels and you didn't recover, that's when you're going to want to quit. When you realize that you just have not been paying attention to your fuel and you've pumped over $1,000 worth of fuel that week and you've been running short loads that week, you're going to want to quit. So there's so many reasons to come, and there's so many reasons to try your hand at it, but there's also so many reasons you can fail. And not a lot of people talk about failure. Just as many people that want to do it, I think there are a handful of people that try it and fail. I currently right now know about 3 people now who've turned in their trucks, and I'd be lying. I'd be telling the story if I said I haven't been looking out here for other jobs. You know, I just have to have a plan B. You know, because I think sometimes I like to be real with myself and say, man, I might have bit off a little bit more than I can chew. 3 years might be a little bit too long for me. But I mean, the months and have been going by pretty quickly, but I don't, man, this is real. This is real. Like, Schneider helps you a lot. The training wheels are still on with Schneider. They're gonna, you know, help you pay, you know, they'll pull out your, you know, your IFTA and your, you know, all your permits and your base plates and all that. They're still there. It's not like, you know, hey, you the man, you know, do your thing. You know, there's still, you know, things that automatically just do for you. So that's good. But in the long and short of it, in the grand scheme of things, just really be careful before you sign that lease. And read your lease. Read your lease. Now, here's the thing with the lease. It's worded in such a way it makes perfect sense to, like, lawyers. You know, your average guy, he can kind of get the gist of it, but he won't be able to break it down systematically like a lawyer would. But they're not going to let you leave out the orientation with a copy of the lease, you know, to go show your lawyer before you sign the lease. You know, not to my recollection. If I'm wrong, of course, somebody comment and you know, that's perfect. But instead of trying to get out of things or anything like that, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm just wanting to say that, hey, it's good, it's bad, and it's ugly when it comes to Schneider. It's good, bad, and ugly. All of those, you know. But what can you do? But for the guys who want to come along, do a little bit more homework. Do a little bit more homework and come to your lease with money saved. You need a few $1,000s to go ahead and come over here and be comfortable. Because if you're coming over here with that Schneider finance truck, with the high lease payments, you need money to bounce back on if you don't run up enough revenue that week, because that will happen. You know, there's no one I've talked to that's been on the Schneider IC choice board for years and never got into a little bit of hot water with the you know, good and bad weeks of it. It's never been, oh, I've been here 8 years and never had a bad week. I haven't talked to them. Are they out there? Do they exist? Are there unicorns, the guys that just get out there and run $2,500 plus checks to the net, you know, not gross but net take home? Yeah, I'm pretty sure, more than sure. But for your average Joe, you're me, you're you, I mean, there's a lot to think about. So just don't think like you failed. You know what? Give it a solid try. If you want to turn your truck in, don't turn your truck in when you're mad. Don't turn your truck in when, oh man, I'll quit, man, it's just not working out. No. Don't turn it in then. Turn it in when you've given it everything you got and you stayed out there longer than you wanted to, and you just even took the weeks of being negative and took the weeks of no check, and you kept on trying to make it work and you still couldn't. That's when you can gracefully bow out. Remember, you didn't quit. You gracefully bowed out. You folded. That's it. But I don't want to, you know, keep making it seem as this is like this is a rant, because it's not. My eyes are open, and I realize now it's not what I thought it was. It's I've locked myself into a longer lease. It says 3 years, not a year. So for anyone who says, why do I recommend a year and I'm not doing a year, it's because I'm not doing a year why I recommended a year. You know, it's a lot. It is a commitment, and I don't think I was ready for such a big commitment. You know, so I did it. I'm going to continue to try. Right now I am successful in revenue, and I'm able to make a check, but I want that good work-life balance, and I'm going to keep working at this until I can find that, and until I get that, and I know that's available here in the Midwest. So I'm the first to tell you that, hey, I'm stressed out, I'm burnt out, I'm at my wit's end. A lot of times I feel like giving up my truck, but me as a man and how I was taught and I was raised, you give it 110% before you ever think about, doing something different, and that's what I'm going to do. And right now I can tell you I have not given it 110%. I haven't even given it 80%. So if I get to 110% and have to make that video, you guys will be the first to see it. So I'm going to get you guys out of here because this is getting a little bit long. But man, Schneider, I see choice. Quitting. Don't do it until you have to, man. And I know that sounds redundant, but man, give it your all before you give it back. Your truck, that is, all right? All right, man, I'm going to let y'all out of here, all right?